Hello, I'm Olivier Tercieux, and I'm going to present this joint work with Yeon-Koo Che, who is in Colombia, which is about how to design optimally a queuing system. So let me give you a brief introduction for what we're doing. So it's well known that waiting in line is a very common phenomenon. There are studies evaluating to 6 months the time you spend while waiting for things like schools, bookstores, post office, and call centers, for instance. There is a branch of math, which is called queuing theory, which studies waiting in lines or queues. And one goal is to try to understand what are the determinants of the queue length and what are the determinants of the waiting time of agents in the queue. There is a subfield of the queuing theory, which is called rational queuing, which studies the agents' incentives to join a queue. So typically in these models, the agents are going to trade off their waiting time to get served in case they join the queue with whatever they can get if they don't join the queue, meaning with their outside option. And so the goal is to try to understand the determinants of the equilibrium queue length and to see how it compares to what would be socially optimal. However, in this literature, there is no much systematic design treatment like what we do in mechanism design, where you would try to write down an objective for the designer and maximize this objective subject to a set of instruments, including potentially many things like the queuing rule, and subject to incentive constraints. And so this is exactly what we're trying to achieve in this paper. So the model is the following. It's a queuing model with general Markov process. And so it's a dynamic model where time is continuous. It runs from 0 to infinity, and agents arrive randomly to a queue in order to receive service. More specifically, at each point in time, when you have k agents in the queue, then a new agent will arrive in the queue according to a Poisson process at rate lambda k. Let me insist on the fact that the arrival rate here, lambda k, is a function of the number of agents in the queue. Similarly, an agent in the queue is going to be served at rate mu k, where again, the rate at which an agent is served is going to be a function of the number of agents who are currently in the queue, k agents. So we'll say that lambda mu, where lambda is a collection of lambda k for each queue length k, and mu is a collection of mu k for each queue length k, we'll call this a primitive process. We'll make some assumption on this process. The first one is that the service rate mu k is going to be non-decreasing and concave in k. The fact that it's non-decreasing, we see it as without loss. And if you interpret mu k as the maximum service rate that an agent who belongs to a set of k agents can get, then whatever you can do with k agents, you can also do it with k plus 1 agents. And so the fact that it's non-decreasing is by definition, by construction. Now, concavity is actually an assumption which is satisfied in all applications we know of. And interestingly, it's a necessary condition to ensure that basic rules and standard rules like first come, first served are actually non-wasteful. So this is a general setting that we're proposing, and it includes many different applications, which range from the standard MM1 model to more recent models like dynamic matching models, which are popular for instance, in the econ literature. Let me go further in the description of the model. It's going to be a standard queuing model where you have homogeneous preferences with linear waiting costs. We'll have 3 parties in this model. One are the individuals, another one is going to be the service provider, and the last one is going to be the designer. And so in terms of payoffs, the individuals will get a utility, some utility if they join the queue and get served. So let's say they join the queue, get served after a period of time of t. Then their utility is going to be V, the surplus from service, minus the waiting cost, which is again, it's a linear waiting cost. So it's going to be C times T, where C is the per period cost of waiting. So this is the utility that an agent gets if it joins the queue and gets served after a period of time of t. Now, if it doesn't join the queue, is going to get some outside option, and we assume that his utility for the outside option is normalized to 0. Okay, so this is a description of the individual payoffs. Now the service provider will simply earn a flow payoff of R each time an individual gets served. And finally, the designer's objective is going to be a weighted sum of the service providers and the individual's payoffs. Let me not go into more details for the designer's objective at this stage, and I'll explain in a couple of slides. I'll provide more details in a couple of slides. But given this objective, what are the instruments of the designer? The designer will have 4 instruments. First, the entry and the exit rule. And so the entry rule is simply going to be a collection of xk for each q-length k. And xk is simply going to be the probability with which an agent who arrives is allowed to join the queue when the q-length is k. You could think of this as well as being the likelihood with which the designer is going to recommend an arriving agent to join the queue. And so we'll impose incentive constraints in our program, and we'll ensure that whenever an agent is recommended to join the queue, it will have incentive to do so. So X is going to be the entry rule, and the designer will have also the possibility to remove agents from the queue. So Y is going to be the exit rule, and it's a collection of YKL for each K and L, where K again is the queue length, and L is an agent position in the queue. So I haven't said so far what the position of an agent is. So let's think of a position of an agent as reflecting how much time he has been waiting in the queue. So typically an agent has position 1 if he has if he's the guy who waited for the longest time in the queue. He has position 2 if he's the guy who waited for the second longest time, and so on and so forth. And so YKL is going to be the rate at which an agent in position L is removed from the queue when you have K agent in the queue. Again, if an agent is not removed from the queue, you could think of this as being a recommendation to stay in the queue. And again, in the designer problem, we ensure that whenever an agent is recommended to stay in the queue, it will have incentive to do so. Okay, so this describes the entry rule and the exit rule. Now, 2 other important rules and instruments are going to be the queuing rule and information rule. So queuing rule is going to say, upon service occurring, is going to determine who will be the agent to get served. Okay, so more precisely, the queuing rule is going to be a collection QKL for each q length k and position L, where QKL is going to be the rate at which an agent in position L is served when the q length is k. And finally, the information rule is simply going to describe the information that agents get on the state at each point in time. And so, in particular, it's a collection of IT for each t positive. And so IT is going to specify the information that an agent gets after he has waited for a period of time of t in the queue. And the information he gets is going to be on the state, and what we call a state is simply the queue length and his position in the queue. And so he will care about this state in order to compute his residual waiting time before getting served. Okay, so these are the 4 instruments of the designer, and let me now write down the designer's problem. Still, I'm going to stick to a fairly informal description. So he's going to maximize the weighted sum of agents' flow payoffs, where agents are both the service provider and the individuals. This is going to be maximized at the invariant distribution. And so the set of control variable is going to be the set of instruments that I described before. So the entry rule, the exit rule, queuing rule, and information rule. And this is going to be, so it's going to maximize this objective subject to the incentive constraints, where I already partly described them, where we think about the incentive constraint in the following way. Irrespective of the information that an agent gets, if he's recommended to join the queue, he should have incentive to join the queue. And if he's recommended to stay in the queue, he should have incentives to do so. So it's a fairly difficult problem to solve, in particular because we're thinking about dynamic incentive compatibility. So we're thinking about the incentive of agents to remain in the queue. And this means that we have to think about how beliefs evolve over time. And the way in which beliefs evolve is finally dependent on the queuing rule. And in general, because of this, it's a fairly difficult problem to solve. It's a very difficult problem to solve. And so what we did is we studied a relaxed problem, a linear programming problem, which is a relaxed problem compared to the one I just mentioned, where the designer still maximizes the same objective, but this is only over entry rule and exit rule. And this is going to be subject to a relaxed incentive compatibility constraint, which essentially will say that an agent must have incentives to join the queue if he's not informed. Okay, so it doesn't get any signal on the state, and is recommended to join the queue. Okay, so the only incentive constraint here is that the agent must have incentive to join the queue if he's uninformed and is recommended to join the queue. It's a weakening of the incentive compatibility constraint that I mentioned before, and in particular, there is nothing about dynamic incentive here, which makes this problem much simpler to solve. So the first result is going to be about the relaxed problem and about the solutions to the relaxed problem. So I need a piece of notation. So I will say that a cutoff policy is a pair of an entry rule and an exit rule, so that the exit rule simply never removes agents. And the entry rule, you could think of it as fixing a cap on the queue in a sense, so fixing some integer k star, beyond which agents will be turned away. They won't be allowed to join the queue, and below which agents will be recommended to join the queue. More specifically, they will be recommended to join the queue with priority 1 when the queue length is smaller than k star minus 2. And at k star minus 1, you may have some random rationing, meaning that they will be recommended to join the queue with interior probability. And so what we show is that there is an optimal solution to the relaxed problem, which is a cutoff policy. And so far, this tells you something about the solutions of the relaxed problem, that they look simple, but it doesn't tell you much about the solutions to the initial exact designer's problem. And so this is what we do. Do in the second result. We provide an explicit solution to the designer's exact problem. So let X star and Y star be a cutoff policy which solves the relaxed problem. We know it exists by the previous result. Now what this result says is that if the primitive process is regular, meaning that the arrival rate increases faster than the service rate as the queue length increases, then the entry rule and exit rule, X star, Y star, together with first come, first served, and the no information policy, beyond the recommendations, the agents will get no additional information. This is an optimal solution to the designer's problem, the real exact designer's problem. Okay, so even though this problem was complex because it involved thinking about dynamic evolution of beliefs, we end up with an explicit solution to the problem, which is fairly simple: a cutoff policy together with first come, first served, and no information provided to agents. So in order to show that this is actually a solution, we proceed in 2 steps. In the first step, we show that agents do have incentives to join the queue upon being recommended to do so. And this is by construction, because as I mentioned before, by construction, X star, Y star is actually a solution to the relaxed problem. And if you come back to the relaxed problem, you know that by definition, the agents will have incentive to join the queue where they are not informed, which is exactly what we need here. And so this first step, that agents have incentive to join the queue upon being recommended to do so, is actually by construction. Now, and so far I haven't been using the queuing rule. This step actually holds for any possible queuing rule. It's true for any queuing rule. Now, what we need to show is that dynamic incentive compatibility is satisfied, meaning that agents will have incentives to stay in the queue. Let me remind you that at the optimal solution, the designer never removes agents, and so agents are recommended to stay in the queue, and so they must have incentives to do so. And so in order to prove this, we know that they have incentives to join the queue. What we need to show is that the beliefs evolve favorably. Agents become more and more optimistic in some sense, meaning the residual waiting time decreases over time. As time passes, even if they are not matched for a while, they believe that their waiting time decreases. And so we need to study the evolution of beliefs as time passes. And so what we show is that under regularity, the beliefs about queue position indeed improve over time in the first come, first served, and then the residual waiting time is actually decreasing as time passes. This is non-trivial because under first come, first served, you have two countervailing forces when time passes. As time passes, there is there is a force which makes you optimistic, which is kind of the straightforward, which is that given the initial queue length, let's say queue length was 10 initially, then as time passes, it must be that your position improves. People ahead of you are going to be served. And so, if you had position 10 at the beginning, you cannot move to position 11 or 12 by definition of first come, first served. So this means that your position must increase over time, and this is what pushes your residual waiting time downward. But there is another force, because this argument assumes that the initial queue length is given, conditions on the initial queue length. But the belief of an agent over his initial, the initial queue length, and so his initial position is going to evolve as well. Intuitively, maybe I was believing when I joined the queue, I was believing that there was 10 agents in the queue with high probability, but then now I haven't been matched for a long time. Maybe now I'm thinking that there was much more agent in the queue than I initially thought. And so I'm going to be more and more pessimistic in some sense on my initial position in the queue. And this is a force which makes me pessimistic again and pushes my residual waiting time upward. So you have two opposite forces, and the main goal of the proof is to show that under regularity, good news is stronger than bad news, so the positive force is stronger than the negative force. So this shows that first come, first serve is actually optimal with a fairly simple policy of, entry rule and exit rule is simple, and also a simple information policy. You can imagine other rules in some specific context being optimal, but what we show is that first come, first serve is actually uniquely optimal in a maximal domain sense, in the sense that if you take any other queuing rule, then you can cook up an environment, a regular environment, actually a MM1 environment, in which this rule fails to implement the optimal policy under any possible information rule. So let me conclude. Without information design, the problem is probably very, very complex. What we show is that first come, first serve with information design is optimal. And so we have a simple solution thanks to information design, which involves providing no information to agents. Of course, you can think of many unmodeled benefits of getting information. For instance, transparency is often useful. People may dislike being in the dark and so on and so forth. But the point of our paper is that as soon as the designer wants to relax the incentive constraints by not releasing all information, then there is another role for queuing disciplines in regulating agents' beliefs. And first come, first serve, we identify a new virtue for first come, first served in regulating these agents' beliefs in the best way. Thank you.